Welcome back to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at the market site is Dr. Chris Yu. He's the CEO and co-founder of Anpac Bio. Thank you very much for joining us today at the market site. And we're going to focus on multi-cancer screening through liquid biopsy. But my first question to you is, how is cancer screening traditionally done?
Okay, traditional cancer screening can be classified into two large groups. One is called IVD, which is outside the body using blood or fluid for testing. The other one is imaging technologies such as a mammogram, PET scan, and CT. And all of them have their own merits. On the other hand, all of them have limitations in terms of performance, for example, catching cancer early, or sensitivity and specificity and a cost, which we can discuss that later on the interview.
So tell us about Anpac Bio and why the technology and proprietary medical devices have been called game-changing and won Breakthrough Innovation Award at the World Nobel Prize Laureate Summit. I mean, it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, thank you. It's a good question. Basically, what we are different is, even though it's a still blood-based test, just using a very small amount of blood, 2 cc's of blood, and we're using called a multi-level, multi-parameter, because in traditional technology, people only looking at one particular, parameter of the fluid. For example, protein, a particular protein fragmentation or particular aspect of a cell, cancer cell. In our technology, we have integrated, all those expressions, if you will, in a single test. Therefore, by using a relatively simple technology, we are able to capture much more comprehensive, much more information in one shot. Therefore, it's much more cost-effective, and more importantly, we are able to catch cancer at a much earlier stage than traditional technology, and we have already validated the technology in large scale retrospective studies with hospitals and also in large population screening, able to actually screen out individuals with the early stage of cancer or pre-cancer stage.
That makes it easier to treat when you catch it early, right?
That's
so
right.
Is this what's called a liquid biopsy?
Right, it's called a liquid, it falls into a large characterization of liquid biopsy, but it's a new type of liquid biopsy, different than the traditional one, which is typically looking for circulating tumor cell or circulating DNA, RNA. So our technology is much more comprehensive. In addition to just DNA information, we can capture cellular level information and a protein level information, which is revolutionary.
So it helps you pinpoint more specifically where the cancer is?
Yes, to some extent. And what I can allude to later on is in a single test, we're able to catch multiple cancer types, not just one.
So how many different forms of cancer can the test identify, and how accurate would you say it typically is?
Okay, so up to date, through the large clinical studies with the hospitals, we have validated we can catch over 20 types of different cancers. And also the good news is a lot of them have a high incidence rate, common cancer, for example, lung cancer, breast cancer, gastric cancer. And how accurate? Between 75 to 90% sensitivity and specificity, and also more importantly, able to catch early stage cancer. So that's something very different than the traditional technology, which catch cancer at a mid to late stage.
And that's what I was going to ask you, how does it differ from traditional tests? So accuracy and early stages are two important factors, but how do the screening costs compare to other methods that are available on the market? So
that's another advantage of our technology, and because our mission is to make a cancer screening available to general population, to everyone, not just a small group of people. So therefore, in our design and in actual practice, we have, through innovation, made our cost very relatively low compared with the traditional technologies. And also because we're vertically integrated companies, for example, in terms of consumable and medical device, we are involved in the manufacturing of it as well. So therefore, we're able to make the cost low, and typically only a third to a fifth of the traditional technologies.
All right, so who could benefit from the CDA technology, and how often should someone be screened for cancer?
That's a very good question, and we recommend for general population annual screening, and for high risk, population, or even someone suspected of cancer in a half a year.
Right. And to wrap it up, what's the most important message that you want viewers to take away from our interview today?
Well, our message is that cancer is preventable, and also if one unfortunately has early stage of cancer, it's totally treatable. So the message is to do a routine checkup annually and catch cancer early or prevent cancer from happening.
So test early and test often.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Doctor, for joining us at the Market Site, and thank you for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.